What if I told you that you're not broken, that the aching in your chest, the confusion in your mind, the constant inner battles you face every single day are not signs of weakness, but signs that your soul is outgrowing the life you've been told to live? What if your pain is a compass pointing you away from the artificial and toward the authentic? You see, most people go through life mistaking discomfort for dysfunction, believing their misalignment is a personal defect rather than a signal from the unconscious. Carl Jung understood this more than most. He believed that human suffering was not a flaw to be fixed, but a messenger, a sacred whisper from within. And if you've ever felt lost, numb, or like a stranger in your own life, then maybe it's time to stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What path am I on? And is it even mine?" Jung once wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And yet, it is only in that total acceptance that we find truth. The truth that we are not broken. We are simply not where we belong. This message is not just philosophical, it's personal. It's for anyone who's ever sat in silence and felt the dull ache of meaninglessness. For anyone who has achieved what they were told would bring happiness, only to feel emptier than ever. For anyone who has tried to outrun the void and finally realized it's time to stop running and start listening. From the moment we're born, we begin adapting. We adjust to our environment. We learn what behaviors get us love, what parts of us earn approval, and which ones invite rejection. And slowly, we create what Jung called the persona, a mask we wear for the world. This persona helps us survive. It's how we fit in, how we get jobs, how we avoid abandonment. But there's a cost. The more tightly we cling to the mask, the more distant we become from the self underneath it. Over time, we forget who we are. We confuse the mask for our identity. And that's when the suffering begins. Not because we're defective, but because we've disconnected from our authentic nature. Imagine forcing a lion to live like a sheep, to graze, to submit, to silence its roar. It would eventually grow sick, lethargic, depressed, not because something is wrong with the lion, but because it's been removed from its natural way of being. The same is true for us. We've been fed lies about who we're supposed to be. We've been given a map that leads us away from ourselves. And when we follow it, we get lost, not in the world, but in our own minds. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But the tragedy is, most people never do. They live and die wearing masks that don't belong to them. But here's the miracle. No matter how far off the path you've gone, no matter how many wrong turns you've taken, your true self is never lost. It waits. It watches. It whispers. Every moment of discomfort, every restless night, every breakdown is your soul trying to redirect you. You are not broken. You are misaligned. Your pain is sacred. It is not a punishment. It's an invitation to come home. And coming home starts with listening to the whisper, that faint inner voice that says, "This isn't it." The longing you feel when you look at the stars, the ache you feel when you remember a dream you gave up, the quiet knowing that your life was meant for more than this treadmill of survival. That voice is real. It is ancient. It is yours. Jung believed in something called the individuation process, the journey of becoming whole by integrating all aspects of yourself. It's not about fixing what's wrong. It's about reuniting with what was forgotten. Maybe you wanted to be an artist, but became an accountant. Maybe you long to travel, but stay in the same town because you're afraid. Maybe you've silenced your emotions for years because being vulnerable once got you hurt. Whatever it is, these unfulfilled desires don't disappear. They go underground, into what Jung called the shadow, and they wait there until you're ready to face them, not as threats, but as the pieces of your wholeness. The shadow is not evil. It's simply unlived life, repressed dreams, silenced truths, buried potential. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That means healing isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about facing what you've avoided with courage. It's about bringing the exiled parts of yourself back into the light. The parts you were told were too sensitive, too intense, too weird, too wild. Those parts, they are your power. If you're feeling stuck right now, like your life is frozen, like something is off but you can't quite name it, understand this. The discomfort is not a problem. It's a portal. It's your soul refusing to let you settle. You were not made to fit in. You were made to awaken. But awakening is uncomfortable. It requires that you break the rules, disappoint others, say no when you used to say yes. It requires that you walk away from the identity you've outgrown and step into the terrifying, beautiful unknown. And yes, there will be grief. Letting go of who you were trained to be can feel like dying. But it's the death of illusion, the death of false paths, the death of everything that kept you small, and in its place, rebirth, a new aliveness, a clarity you forgot was possible. As Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. But the pain is worth it, because on the other side is a life that feels like yours. Maybe you're in a dark night of the soul. Maybe you wake up every day with heaviness you can't explain. Maybe you feel disconnected, like you're just going through the motions. Please hear this. You are not broken. You are becoming. What feels like falling apart is actually falling into place. Your soul is tearing down what no longer serves so it can build something real, something true. And truth is always found within, not outside, not in more accomplishments, more validation, more control. But in the quiet moments when you dare to ask yourself, what do I truly want? Who am I beneath the expectations? What life would I choose if I wasn't afraid? That's your path, the one that terrifies you and excites you at the same time, the one that demands your honesty, the one that leads not to comfort, but to freedom. Jung believed that each individual must walk their own path to wholeness, that there is no one-size-fits-all formula, only your truth, and the courage to live it. So many people live lives of quiet desperation, not because they're lazy, but because they're afraid. Afraid of rocking the boat, afraid of being seen, afraid of failure. But the real failure is abandoning yourself to avoid discomfort. The real tragedy is spending a lifetime climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. If you've been walking someone else's path, today is your invitation to turn around, to come home, to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be found. And only you can do that. By listening, by trusting, by honoring the truth you've buried beneath your fear. Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. This is your time to awaken, to stop dreaming about who you could be and start becoming it. To walk not the path of least resistance, but the path of most resonance. The one that sings to your soul. The one that demands everything and gives you everything in return. You're not broken. You're becoming. And yes, becoming is messy. It's confusing. It's painful. But it is also the most beautiful thing you will ever do because it's real. And once you taste real, you'll never settle for fake again. So, take a breath. Place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what am I being called to do? Who am I being called to become? Then follow that, even if it makes no sense. Even if you're scared, especially if you're scared. Because fear is not a stop sign. It's a doorway. And on the other side is the life you were born for. Not the life others wanted for you. Not the life that looks good on paper, but the life that makes you feel alive. That brings you back to yourself. That reminds you you were never broken. You were just following the wrong path. But now, you're awake, and you can choose again.